Hello, everyone, and welcome to IBG Chit Chat Live for the week of April 4th, 2016. Today, we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff, a little bit about relative race, a little bit about long lost family, and of course, the season premiere of Who Do You Think You Are? I hope everyone is ready. So, good evening, everyone, and contrary to the name above my box that you see, my name is Shannon Combs-Bennett. I'm the creative director for the In-Depth Genealogist and your host this evening. Joining me today are Melissa Barker, archivist and professional, and unfortunately her camera isn't working, so she just gets to say hi from the blackness of the ether. Cheryl Hudson-Passy of Carolina Girl Genealogy. And oh goodness gracious, it didn't come across. You're going to have to tell me the rest of your, she has a business name too that I'm supposed to say there.
Oh, it's okay. I'm Sherry. It's all right. It's okay. I'm Sherry Hudson-Passy, and I write the Carolina Girl Genealogy blog, and I'm the owner. I'm the owner of One-on-One Genealogy, where I offer individual and group instruction on genealogy.
My kids came in the middle of writing this, and if you get me off track, I go other places. Okay, next we have Mary Roddy of MKR Genealogy, and of course Christine Woodcock from Genealogy Tours of Scotland. Thanks everyone for joining us today. It's great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Happy to be here.
And we have to send a special thank you to Christine, because since we've had such a hard time the last few times with Google Hangouts, we are trying a GoToMeeting, and she is allowing us to experiment with hers. Thank you. So hopefully we will actually get through an entire episode without somebody dying, their webcam dying.
Although I have to say, last week when you and Jen were frozen, the look on your face was absolutely hilarious.
I don't want to know. I'm like, hey, they stopped moving. And she goes, no, we've stopped moving. That was the other side of the commentary you didn't hear, because I kept talking. Unfortunately, my husband had been doing some computer work that afternoon, and it seemed that Google didn't like it. So we tried to get back on various places, and it was having nothing to do with it. But anyway, we've got a packed show, so we should get started. Why don't we start with relative race? Who wants to give the update to the viewers on what happened this week? Anybody?
Go ahead, Mary.
Okay, so the I don't know. They all went to their places, and Green Team I think is now the furthest east. They've got to Memphis, so you kind of see them moving. And Blue Team finally got a strike, so they have one strike, and Black Team has one strike, and then Red and Green both have 2 strikes.
And it's 3 strikes, you're out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, they're getting close.
Yeah, and Mrs. Blue Team still hasn't found any relatives yet. So yeah. Sherry was talking about that.
She's very sad, and I can't help but wonder if it's, her husband keeps getting all these relatives, and he's feeling bad for her. And I'm thinking, did they explain to her that, it depends on who has tested. Maybe not many members of her family have tested, or maybe all of hers are coming up at the end of the race. But I just feel so bad for her, because she wants so bad to meet family. She doesn't have any family.
I think it's the kind of preview of next week. I think she is going to get family. It sort of looked like she does get a relative finally. Yeah. And I was going to say one more thing about it. I noticed that they are having the casting call for it. Mm-hmm. So I put the link. I don't know whether that'll come up in the playback, but there is a link out there, so you could just do relative race casting call, and if you want to be on it, but you have to be under 55.
Because old people aren't fun.
Yeah.
Because old people need Depends to get through a trip.
Well, that one is wearing them. She is wearing them. She admitted it.
It's an unfair advantage.
Less breaks are definitely an unfair advantage. So anything else interesting happening on relative race, or should we talk about long lost family?
I guess we can move on.
Okay. All right. So long lost family for this week. two more people trying to find their family. Who wants to start? Anyone have any I can talk observations, comments, or things they think were interesting from the show?
Genetics.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. And I was just going to say that it's amazing to me how much we are like our ancestors. And when the lady found her biological father, he was working
didn't need
for that.
A DNA test to
No, well, you could tell by looking at them, but their hobbies, their loves were the same. And that was just amazing. Absolutely amazing. And the fact that he had married a woman who already had a child, and then her father that she was raised with had married her mother who was pregnant. I just thought that was just incredible. Incredible.
Yeah.
Melissa, did you have any comments about Long Lost Family?
Yes. The woman that found her siblings and her mother had passed away, first of all, I thought the uncanniness look of her and her mother, they looked just alike.
Yeah.
A comment that I thought all genealogists could appreciate, she said, I want to find people who belong to me.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I really, really like that.
I definitely like that. People who belong to me. We all need people who belong to us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'd be curious to see how many people, I'm sorry, I just real quick, I'm curious to see how many people that have gone through the process did it in well versus,
like what the numbers are?
Right. I mean, have they recorded a bunch of them and some of them, or are they going to show us if it doesn't work out? I mean, I can't believe that unless they already do the research and they know it's going to work out, so then they film it. But it doesn't
they
always
could film
work
them all and just not show them.
and just not show, yeah, because it doesn't always work out.
Yeah.
A lot of times it doesn't work out.
Barry, don't you think that it would be a good idea to air one that doesn't work out, to show other adoptees that it doesn't always work?
It's not always roses.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sometimes they don't want to connect, and sometimes when you do get together, it's not good. So it happens, unfortunately.
But would that make good TV?
Well, it would
reality.
Make
reality.
It would make a bunch of, box of Kleenex TV. So maybe.
I've always been really fascinated through it all as well, because I worked in child welfare for years. That, these kids all had and I'm not saying anything against adoptive parents, because the ones I worked with were phenomenal, but not all of them turn out good. And they've all been really happy and really, and nobody's been angry with their adoptive parent. And
I think there was one that the woman a couple of episodes ago, she didn't really sound like she got along with her mother, and she got along with her dad, and now he died. It was the one where the 50-year-old Lebanese woman adopted her. And it really, they didn't talk a lot about that, but it really sounded like she and her mother didn't get
Adopted mother didn't get along.
Adopted mother, yeah.
But for the most part, Christine is right that it seems like everybody is happy and well-adjusted. So I'm wondering what the screening process is.
Yes, maybe you have to be happy and well-adjusted. I don't know.
You never know with TV shows.
I really liked when with the Italian girl who was looking for her dad. I thought it was so neat because they, she just needed to know, and I can't remember the name of the TV host she had gone off and found, and then she came back and she said, we found him, and the girl goes, no shit. Such a raw emotion. So yeah. But again, I mean, you just, she looks so much like her dad, and then the other girl looks so much like her mom. It was absolutely phenomenal. And then again, like Sherry said, just the same life path.
Right.
Incredible.
And that one with the girl that found her father, it was really interesting that she just had no inkling that, and her parents never told her that she wasn't her father's biological child. And it was, she was 19 years old, and somebody said, where in Italy does your family come from?
Right.
And her parents finally had to fess up that, they
were Italian. Melissa, do you have a comment on this?
I was just going to add that the same thing about showing a negative type reaction. I find it interesting that every single person so far has been in agreement to meet.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been kind of surprised by that. There hasn't been not one that says, well, I don't think, I want to do that. But they've all just wanted to meet.
There was you gave us a link a couple weeks ago to there was a podcast with the Relative Race host and producer. Has there been anything like that with Long Lost Family? I guess I would like some of the backstory about have they recorded episodes, or have they found families who don't want to meet and so therefore they won't show that episode?
Melissa, was that to you?
To whoever.
Oh, to whoever?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I know Relative Race, they had several interviews from Roots Tech, and they had a lot of stuff out on Family Search that was posted to links to various things. Long Lost Family being a TLC production, I wonder if I haven't explored their page on TLC, but I bet you there might be information or clips or FAQ type things out there. So one of us should probably, before the next episode, go out and look.
There's a lady here, and her father was a British home child. So that was a group of philanthropists who took not orphans actually, just like really poor kids, and put in workhouses, and then they were moved over to the children's homes, and from there they were shipped off to Canada. And she didn't know her father was a British home child until she was in Halifax and at Pier 21. So that would be like our Ellis Island. It's Canada's version of Ellis Island.
Oh, wow.
And she found her father's name in a book there, and it said who he had come with. And it was the first time she had known, because he had never talked about it because it was shameful. I mean, the kids got a sense that they'd done something wrong, and so they were being shipped off. Anyway, as a result of that, in the research she's done, she has found his brother and sister who also came over. So she's found cousins that she didn't know she had. So she was actually contacted by TLC for Long Lost Family to see about being a part of that. But because she had already met the cousins, they turned her down.
Oh, they want it to be the raw emotion when they meet.
Raw, yeah. And interestingly, her cousin is the only female beef eater in the Tower of London.
Oh,
I know. So when she goes to stay, she goes to stay in the Tower of London.
Because that's so cool. Do you know you can stay? You could reserve rooms in the Tower of London?
Well, I guess she lives in an apartment there, right?
Oh, yeah. The beef eaters all live in apartments there, but you can actually...
Yeah, so she stays with her cousin.
That's just... I want to be her cousin. Okay. So I'm out.
She went over last year when they were doing that ceramic poppy display.
Oh.
And she got to plant the poppies and stuff. It was so cool.
Oh. Now I'm like all jealous. So I'm out on the Long Lost Family page on TLC, and there's nothing there. Oh, they have, bios of the hosts, Lisa Joyner and Chris Jacobs. They have the schedule, episode teasers, photographs, and on the about are just like little teaser clips about the different episodes. They don't have any other type of information. So there goes that idea.
Maybe one of their producers needs to get a link to this.
Let's send it to them.
We have some questions. Okay.
Yeah, we do.
We can totally do that. We can do that. Okay. So why don't we move on to the mother of all premieres, which was this last Sunday. Who Do You Think You Are? Brand new episode for the season. Woohoo! Long enough wait, right?
Yay.
It was Aisha Tyler, who I have to say I absolutely love. I do. I'm a fangirl of hers. I was so sad when she died in Ghost Whisperer. That tells you how long ago I was. But it was a lot of fun. Y'all are giggling at me. But yeah, so it was a lot of fun, and I thought it was a really well done episode. And I have to say, real quick, that my husband laughed. I mean, almost blew Coke out his nose laughing when she turned to the camera and said, I hope my ancestor is general because that would make good TV. And I thought he was going to die.
Yeah, she didn't want him to be old man Hancock. But yes.
The other one was when she said at the very end that when her ancestor went back there, you know, if somebody said something nasty, they probably deserved a box in the mouth.
Yes. That was good.
So, Melissa, since we can't see you, why don't you get us started? Was there anything in particular that you thought was really wonderfully done, or a particular aspect you think we need to talk about first?
Well, I made some notes. I feel like I was Valerie when I was making notes. One thing that really struck me is that this episode is more of a normal episode. And when I say normal, I mean because in a lot of these episodes, they try to go see how far back they can go. And this time it was like they really honed in on a certain ancestor and they stuck with it and they told the story.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of trying to, you know, go as far back as they can go or go this way or go that way. One of the things that Aisha said was every family has family lore, which I liked. She said that. Mm-hmm. And I liked that she said that she was curious to learn the good and the bad.
Right.
And I always teach my genealogy students to learn the good and the bad, you know, to not be afraid to learn of the bad. And the thing that I really wanted to know was the John Hancock that she found she was related to. I wondered if that went back to the John Hancock, the signer of the Declaration of Independence.
I wondered that myself.
I see a project.
Yeah, I wondered that myself.
So who's going to take on that project? Just curious. Where's Terry when you need her?
Right. I got to finish ProGen before I can take on another project.
So I found it interesting that what I particularly liked was when the sociologist that she was talking to, and I think this was in Ohio before she came to Texas, discussed how politics have changed over the years and how like modern thinking of Republican versus Democrat was not the thinking in the 1860s, 70s, 80s of Republican versus Democrat. And seeing as we're in the middle of a highly contentious presidential election right now in the United States, I found that wonderful. Yay, throw politics in.
I thought the historical background was really, really helpful, that they brought in the historians, the social historians to help her understand what these things meant, what the newspaper articles meant, what they were pointing to help her come to some conclusions herself. Right. And then know where to look next or what to ask next. I thought that was helpful.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a big proponent of making sure everyone understands their social history for their ancestors. It can give you not only so much flavor and background, but it can lead you to more answers. Why they did things.
Why they did, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if this was going on at the time, well, then maybe I should look here because surely they were involved. Yeah.
So the black elephant, speaking of politics, that was a nice play on words for his bar.
That was really awesome. Cool.
That was, and the fact that the building was still there, oh, I wish she could have gotten inside of it. Oh, I was right there with her going, oh!
Yeah, I didn't know why they didn't time it so she could go.
Yeah, I'm thinking, figure it out. Yeah, okay, so everyone's in agreement. Why the heck did you not let her in the building?
The producers on Chit Chat. Let's ask them.
There has to be some reason.
I'll get right on that.
Back.
At least she wasn't like Brooke Shields, remember, who climbed the tomb to touch her ancestor's heart?
Yes.
But I thought that was, okay, so my husband is from Texas, and he has family in Austin. And what's funny is he goes, hey, I know where that is. And he pulled out his phone, and he goes, yeah, it's right here on this. And he like showed me exactly where in Austin it was on the map. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, at least he watches and he's interested, and that's good.
I get to go to Austin next month. My husband has to go to a conference in Austin, so I'm going to tag along.
So you're going to go and find the bar?
Yeah, oh, you bet.
That'd be great.
You have to blog about it, Mary. You'll have to tell us all. And I thought it was got to go to her ancestor's house at the end as well.
Yeah,
and it had a nice plaque.
And have the plaque on it. Did you notice? I should have paused it, but I didn't think about rewinding and pausing it. But did you notice that house isn't originally where it was built? It said it was moved to that location.
Right.
It was moved.
Yeah.
So that was very cool. But it's nice to. I hope she got the chance to go inside instead of just walking around it.
Me too. I wanted to see inside. I did too.
I totally would have done. I would have done a cold knock on the door. Hey, don't mind me and my camera crew, but
yeah, but you see this name? This is my great-grandfather. Let me in.
It's nice to know that you and I think alike, Christine, because I totally would have too.
I would have.
Well, I know when she was standing and she was staring in the window of that bar, I'm like, what the hell? How come she's not in there? Why didn't you guys arrange it so that it was open?
Yeah.
And I thought, well, maybe it's been abandoned, but no, get in there.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go through the window.
I was thinking, accidentally.
Oops.
Okay, maybe it's 10 o'clock in the morning, but I'm back there at 8 o'clock at night, I'll tell you.
So I don't know about you guys, but I was curious because I don't remember them actually going into it. The reason why he died in a separate town from his family.
Yeah, they didn't. They just said he did, and they went and picked him up.
Yeah, it made it sound like they were estranged. And she had the family legend that he and his wife were estranged. When I was
separate,
maybe they would. Maybe it didn't make good TV.
That's another thing I kind of like the way the episode started with her doing what everybody should do. Find out what other family members know first.
Yeah.
See what's known. See what they can tell you. And I love that she got the letter and the picture as a basis for beginning. Oh, that's a great example. See what your aunts, your great aunts, your grandparents, if they're still around, see what they know and go from there.
That's right. Melissa, do you have anything to add? I can't see you raising your hand.
I love the use of the newspapers, like Sherry said. Newspapers are my absolute favorite record source, next to manuscript collections. The college catalogs. I do a webinar on school records, and I'm going to add this to my webinar, but because I do lots of different records, especially records that you would think to use if your ancestor didn't go to school, but they were showing college catalogs, and I love to see what was actually in them. And so, not that all colleges have college catalogs that survive, but I just thought those were pretty neat.
And how fun as well that she had applied to that college.
I
It was amazing.
I know.
Imagine if she had got in, what the reaction would have been.
Yeah.
Well, it's that whole same thing, right? Because it's the same connection as with Long Lost Family, where it was, just the similarities.
That's right. Not like me, who was told I could go to any school as long as it was in Indiana.
Okay.
Or me coming from a long line of beautiful knitters, and remember saying to my mom I wanted her to teach me how to knit. She said, "I don't even bother. You just be useless at it."
Oh no! Oops.
Thanks. Nothing wrong with my self-esteem.
Wow.
Did you do it anyway? Did you do it anyway?
No.
I'm used to that too. So I have a little piece of information here that was given to me that was not in the show.
Ooh.
Pray tell.
So according to the 1900 census, Hugh was living in Evanston outside of Chicago, Illinois, with his wife Susie and their 4 daughters. Among them was Aisha's great-grandmother, Huella. Also, Hugh is listed as a saloon keeper in the census.
Ah.
in Evanston. The expert that found this information says it's impossible to know why he would have moved to Chicago, but a possibility is that saloons in the north were also hubs of political activity. Aisha then learned that Hugh went on to live in Portland, Oregon, and Tonopah, Nevada, most likely to take advantage of those burgeoning gold mining towns by operating saloons there too.
Wow.
Wow.
A little bit of information that was discovered but not put in the episode.
See, you need that kind of stuff scrolling at the end so we can read it.
That's right. Shove that 1,800 hours of research into a scroll.
Yeah. The crawl goes by really fast.
The pause button's for.
Yeah.
So there's a little more information for you, because that was one thing. I didn't see a lot of census records. They used a lot of newspapers, which were cool, and the unusual use of, or well, for most people, the unusual use of school records, but maybe only one, maybe two census records showing that he was living in Ohio. Did they show any census records from Texas? I don't think so.
No.
I don't
so.
think they did.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember that they did. They may have, but I don't remember it.
So yeah, so there's a little piece of census record information for you. So that's kind of cool.
That is, yeah.
Cool.
That was really cool.
Yeah, especially.
And she kept that career, you know, the whole time. So.
Okay. Anybody else have any other comments about the episode? Because I mean, it was just it was a really fun one. I think they picked a good one to start out with.
Yeah.
I do too. Just real quick, I had a friend today. I was talking to her about the show, and her husband has really started getting into doing his family history. And she said, we just haven't had time, and I don't know a lot of the stars. And I said, oh, no, that's not why you watch it. You watch it to see how they find what they find and give yourself some hints about records that you never knew about. And she's like, I'll start recording them and watching them. So,
that was one of the reasons why I like watching the BBC version. I don't know a lot of their pop culture stars and icons on British TV. Obviously, I live in Virginia. I just don't know them. It's the stories, you know. They can come on and tell me they're an actor or they're a playwright or they're do this or whatever, and I'm like, okay, but then they have this really cool story, and you can get used to that. So,
yes.
And for me, it's the learning about the different history. I mean, the Anita Rani episode from the BBC one was, all about partition in India and Pakistan that I didn't really know much about. But then there was also a fictional masterpiece theater about the tea plantations. I forget what it was called, on PBS. And it was kind of the same time frame that we were talking about. And so knowing, the history from the Who Do You Think You Are kind of enriched my understanding of this other fictional show, but it was very interesting.
That's like Brendan O'Carroll, Mrs. Brown. His grandfather, wasn't it fab? His grandfather was killed by the IRA.
In the street in front of his house.
And his grandma was upstairs sleeping in bed. He went down to answer the door and was shot. And it was just, because I really remember growing up, how probably because we're Scottish, but we had my brother had a babysitter, like a nanny, who was Irish, and so it was huge for us, that whole Irish Republican Army thing, right? And being so close to my family and everything. So just to hear this, how it had affected him and his family, and then I just loved at the end when he went back to the house and it was now a nail salon, and I so wanted him to get into Mrs. Brown. Sit in there and get his hair done or something.
So, Melissa, do you have any comments?
I've not watched much of the British ones. I need to go and watch some of them.
They're on YouTube.
They're on YouTube, yeah.
And Catch Australia, too.
Oh, that's right.
I just so much enjoy that they highlight these record sources that are not online. I mean, I know we love sit and do online research in our pajamas and our slippers and and it's fun. But as an archivist, my mantra is, it's not all online. Contact or visit an archives today. That's what I preach, and I want to put it on billboards. But it's so nice to see the records that they pull out. I just love it.
I agree.
So off of that spur of thinking, there was recently, this last few days, that I saw, and it's going to kill me that I can't think of where I read this, but I read somebody, it was a blog or an opinion piece of some sort, about how they wished that shows like Who Do You Think You Are, and even Long Lost Family, would show more of the actual researchers who find the information versus pulling in random academics off the street who are like specialized in whatever, subject they're talking about. Oh, I know what it was. It was Megan Smolyak's article that came out this week about how Genealogy TV is now a genre.
It's now a genre.
And she was posting about how, like, in the last few episodes, like last season, there was like a genealogist in like 5 episodes of Who Do You Think You Are, or something like that. How Genealogy Roadshow is really good because obviously they have 3 professional genealogists there presenting the information, but how wouldn't it be wonderful if we could have more of our profession, the people who are the archivists and the researchers who are actually getting their hands dirty with the research, being able to present that information. And I think she had a good point. It was on the Huffington Post. That's where it was that I read it.
Yes.
I agree. If they're going to do the hard work, I know they get the credit because I saw where Carrie was in the credits. She posted the credits. And I thought that was neat. But I agree. I think that if they want to be, I think that they should be in front of the camera and explain, their process. Because that also helps the researcher to do their own research, to know the process and how much time it took. I still wish that they would put a disclaimer on these shows saying how many hours it took.
Yes.
Hey, I don't know.
Right. No, I think that, having something at the end, even if it's just in the credits that, this episode took this many man hours to create, thank you to everybody, blah, 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 for participating, would be just an educational part of it. Yeah, that's about it. I was going somewhere else and it completely... I hate it when my brain does that.
We all do it. Oh
my gosh. It's
we're all fine with it.
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh yeah. But yeah, so I wanted to put that out there. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Because it would be nice to have some sort of public-ish validation that genealogy is actually a field, and a credible field, and a profession, by putting people out there on TV. So instead of you don't have to have a PhD or be a specialist or be a pure academic to be able to do this type of research. That there are people called genealogists who live among you today.
Well, the UK one, they do have genealogists who present the information.
They do. Hence another reason why I hope
it's not always the one who does the research, but it's usually a genealogist that presents.
Right. So yeah, any other comments before we close for this evening? So we're coming up on our time limit that we try to keep in. Want to make sure we got everything.
Do we have a time limit?
Well, we try to keep it no more than 45 minutes. So okay. we're at 35 right now. So what I'm saying is, got 10-ish, give or take, minutes left in the show. Mostly because we all want to go to bed. Well, if nobody has any comments on anything for Who Do You Think You Are, I want to give you a little sneak peek of the Scott Foley episode, which is going to be on this Sunday, April 10th on TLC. And the little preview paragraph that we got sent says, Scott Foley is deeply patriotic, but doesn't know anything about his American roots. He sets out to investigate family lore about a Revolutionary War hero, and to his surprise, discovers an ancestor who put his life on the line for George Washington. Digging deeper, Scott then uncovers the shocking tale of a relative who was entangled with the Salem witch trials.
Oh, gotta love that.
We have.
I've told you before, that's my goal in life. I want to find somebody.
You just want to have a legitimate excuse to wear a hat and carry a broom on Halloween. I got it.
You got it. my kids will tell you I've already got that excuse.
So would mine. It's okay.
In your DNA, huh?
But on that note, I want to thank everybody for being here today. It'll be great talking about this episode, I'm sure, next week on Chit Chat Live. So make sure to tune in. And remember, everyone out there watching in YouTube land, please drop us a line, send us an email, follow us on Twitter, or just plain old like us on Facebook. Be a little old-fashioned social media there. We love to hear from you. Give us suggestions, tips, advice, or if you have something you'd like to see us discuss in the future, let us know too. So on that note, have a great day, and remember to go in depth with all of your ancestors.